Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm in Whiteville, North Carolina, visiting Vann, Underwood, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and I'm checking out a 2018 Dodge Challenger in the TA 392 trim level. With the classic styling and 485 horsepower, this truly is a modern muscle car. So let's go ahead and check it out. This Challenger is sitting on 275/40 Pirelli tires wrapped around 20-inch. Alloy wheels painted a matte black. It also has a high-performance 4-piston Brembo braking system with ventilated and slotted rotors on all 4 wheels. The name of this color is Granite, and large portions of the vehicle have a matte black wrapping, so the hood, you can see when you get close, there's a difference between the granite color and then the matte black here. Continues on with the hood and the roof of the car. And then here on the sides you have the decals with the TA. It's quite subtle with the granite color, the TA there, and the 392 in that matte black. These yellow pieces here in the front are there during shipping, so these pieces will be removed when you actually drive the vehicle, but they're there when they unload it off the truck. Those splitters kind of stick out quite a ways, and it is low to the ground. So when they first started putting these splitters, I think it was in 2015, they would get scraped on the very bottom portion, unloading them off the trucks and loading them on the trucks, the transport trucks. So they came up with this little protective piece, so if it does scrub, it will be protected. So the grille is all a black, completely black, and these little portions right here are in a gloss black. And other Challengers, there will be a chrome. You have the Challenger badging there. You also have a functional hood scoop that scoops the air and forces it into a cold air intake, which we'll check that out in a little bit. So the headlights are powered by HID bulbs in a projector housing, a single projector housing. It also has a halo LED accent around the outside on both of these portions here on the ends. It also has a amber daytime running light that can be turned on or off in the inside circle. And speaking of the inside circle, you can actually, here on the left side is an open, it's completely open, and it has like a cap at the end, so it goes in certain ways and then stops. But it has a little TA backlit in there, which is pretty cool. On the right side, this actually goes into the intake, the cold air intake. So in addition to the hood scoop, you also have some air going in there, sort of like the Hellcat was the first one I saw do that, where the cold air is coming in from the road and it kind of forces it into that little hole and kind of has a ram air effect. Now the fog lights are in little projector tubes there, powered by halogen bulbs. I just want to mention something here with the Brembo braking system. It has the little slots here in the front and the back, but it doesn't have the cross-drilled. They're not cross-drilled rotors. Sometimes when I say ventilated, some people think that I'm talking about the cross-drill. That's not what I'm talking about. There's actually 2 pieces of 2 rotors, basically, with a ventilation in between. So that's what I'm talking about. A lot of cars have ventilated rotors, especially here in the front. But this one is ventilated and it has the little slots there. The back is slightly different. You can see that it just has one long cut into the rotor instead of 2 smaller ones. So you can see a little bit of the ventilation I'm talking about back here. So there's 2 pieces and then the ventilation is there in the center. Okay, so let's look at the profile of this vehicle. Man, does it look sharp. Okay, so you have the black wheels, the black TA badging and the stripes here on the side. The Brembos really pop out in this vehicle because everything is black except for those. They just pop out at you. Body colored side mirrors. This is what the key looks like. It's a proximity key system designed where you can keep it in your pocket and use the vehicle 100%. You can keep it in your pocket or a bag or whatever. It does have very useful buttons: lock, unlock, the ability to open up the trunk, and a remote start button. This is fantastic, especially when you will just want to hear it start up, which we'll do that when we get behind the vehicle. And then there's a panic button here. Let's just push that and see what happens. So it has a nice strong horn. It flashes the lights, beeps the horn. It also has a physical key on the inside in case you need that, but just generally you keep it with you and you're good to go. As long as you have the key with you, it can be in your pocket, it could be in a bag, as long as it's within a close proximity of this door on the outside of the door, not the inside. It can tell the difference. But anyways, you just reach up to lock it, push the button, and it will lock the doors. To unlock it, you simply put your hand under the handle for just a half a second. It'll go ahead and unlock the doors for you and allow you access to the vehicle. There is a physical key placed right here on the driver's side in case you need that, but it's really simple. You do have to give it just a half a second of your hand under there, then you can pull up the handle. Okay, so here's the inside of the passenger side door. So you have a lot of soft touch features here around your arm. This is kind of like a vinyl material here with the stitching in a French design. Nice and soft. All up in here, you even have some stitching here. It's all soft to the touch, and even up in this area. Now this is kind of like a very durable Nerf type material that has a synthetic leather texturing. This is also what the dash is made out of. It continues around and it goes all the way to this point. Below that, below down in here, is where you'll find your hard plastics, your durable plastics that are easy to clean. Have a little storage pocket back in here, as well as here, and you have your bottle holder here. Here's your threshold. Manually adjusted seats here on the passenger side. Suede leather seats with a TA badging there in the back. Very comfortable. They have the little perforations there in the center portion, and then the smooth portions there on the side, and then it transitions. So you have your suede right here, perforated suede in the center portion, and then your smooth leather on the outside. Plenty of leg room here in the front. So the seat's all the way back, just to give you an idea. I mean, you could be a basketball player and fit in this vehicle here in the front. So there's a 12-volt power supply here with a little net pocket on the side. The 12-volt power supply has a little key on it, letting you know that it turns on and off with the ignition. It has the Challenger badging here in the gloss black, and a locking glove compartment. And I like the way this glove compartment is compartmentalized. Now it's felt lined here at the very bottom, and then you have the shelf right here, so that way you can keep it somewhat organized. You know how they get cluttered. And then the dash is made of that same Nerf type material as the top of the door, which is non-reflective, and it's pretty good at sound deadening. No echoing going on. Okay, so here's a feature on the passenger side, but not the driver's side. You just reach here and you can pull that up. Once you adjust the seat, you get it just the way you want it, as far as the tilt and everything. You just pull this and you push it forward like so, and just one lever to do all that, and you can access the back seat. The driver's seat, you can tilt it forward, but you have to manually or use the power seat to move it forward. So you can tilt but not slide it forward you know, so easily. So the back seats are very usable. I mean, it looks to me in the video right here with the seat all the way back, it looks like these seats are very non-functional as far as legroom, but they actually are, because how many times do you have a 7-foot tall person in the front seat? You can actually compromise your legroom in the front a little bit and actually get some, you know, adults back here. And it's one thing that somebody mentioned. They're like, hey, I use the back seats all the time. And I do too. I mean, I have a 16 Challenger and I use the back seats. It's not a problem at all to have adults back here. So don't let that view just, you know, sway you from, you know, thinking that you got backseat room. Now it does have a armrest with cup holders, latch system for car seats. Let's go ahead and just pull this down right here so you can check it out. Now it does have the climate control vents as well. Significant hump there in the center. So if you're the center passenger, you know, that's where the problem's really going to be. But as far as on the ends, plenty of legroom when you pull the seats forward. Then you have pockets on the back of the front seats, which are very handy. And when you use this lever to put it back in place, you simply just push it back. Push it back, this snaps, and then you just continue to push it back, and it puts it back in that original position. That's why I say use that button instead of using the tilt and the slide. Okay, so checking out the back of the vehicle. Before I go any further, I have to go ahead and remote start it so you can hear the engine. So let's go ahead and remote start it. Has true dual exhaust, and it just sounds awesome with that large displacement engine. Okay, so here in the back it has the little shark fin antenna there at the very top, and then your third brake light powered by LEDs. Matter of fact, all the rear lights back here are all LEDs. Your reverse lights, your turn signals, tail lights, everything. You have a backup camera here in this very center position. And the split tail lights look fantastic at nighttime. Has your Challenger badging back here. This also settled just like the other ones. Parking sensors across the back. Chrome exhaust tips back here. Okay, so looking in the trunk, you can, of course, use the key to pop up the trunk, or there's a little button right under here. Just push that, and it pops up like so. And you just lift it up. So it has the insulation under here. Everything is carpeted. I'm going to put all the dimensions and cargo capacity and everything in the description, but just to give you a general visual idea, very, very usable trunk, especially for a two-door car. And you notice the speakers are all carpeted. They're all covered up. So if you're putting your cargo back here and you're wedging suitcases or whatever back here, then the speakers and speaker wires are not going to be a problem because they're covered up. And the back seats are split. There's a 60-40 split where you can fold them down and add to your cargo space. So you could fold down one or the other and add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space when needed. Okay, so let's lift this up. And this one has the, here's the battery, by the way. It's here in the back to help out with weight distribution. But this one does not have the spare tire. You can get a spare tire, it is an option, but this one has the tire inflator kit. And a little bit of storage space back here. From this angle, you'll notice that the trunk is also wrapped in that matte black, with the spoiler is also the matte black as well. Alright, so this has the blind spot monitor system. Has these little triangles in the side mirrors, and they will illuminate when somebody's in your blind spot. I don't know if you can see that little triangle there, but that will illuminate when there's a vehicle in your blind spot. The blind spot detectors are right back in this area, and they will detect a vehicle that's right from the side mirror all the way back to 1 car length behind the car. So it'll let you know. It also serves as a rear cross traffic alert system. So if you're backing out of a parking space, it'll let you know if there's a vehicle coming from either side. The fuel doors here on the driver's side, which is nice, and check it out, matte black as well. There's your cap. Has a pretty traditional cap with tether system and a place to hang the tether to get the cap out of the way while you're pumping gas. So let's go ahead and start it up without the remote start. So as long as the key's inside the vehicle, it could be in your pocket, it could be in a bag, it could be here in the cup holder. You put your foot on the brake, hold the brake, and push this button to start it. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. You can see the floor mat hooks in place, keeping it from sliding around. And check out these pedals. You have the raised rubber pedals with the metallic background, looking pretty cool. And then you have a footrest here on the left side and a foot actuated parking brake. So let's go ahead and take a look under the hood. To open the hood, really simple. A little bit to the right of center, right in here, there's a latch. You just move it to the left, lift up on it a little bit, and get to a certain point, and it goes the rest of the way up by itself. And check it out. This is the under the hood where the air comes in from that hood scoop and transfers over to the cold air intake, which is right there. Isn't that awesome? And then you have the little place where next to the light where the air is coming in. So the engine compartment has a seal across the back, right there, and you see the strut towers right here, insulated firewall. And since the battery's in the back, you don't have to have any space for it. And it's not too covered up with plastic. Has little plastic covers there, which looks pretty cool because it says powered by SRT. Kind of has that retro style, like valve cover style. Massive looking engine. You see its block is painted orange. Okay, so the engine is a 6.4 liter V8 with 485 horsepower and 475 pound-feet of torque, and it's paired to an 8-speed TorqueFlite automatic transmission. Fantastic combo. I mean, that transmission really brings this engine to life. Here's the inside of the driver's door. Now, it's just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. You have your door lock controls here, power windows, and your side mirror adjustments. Now, the power windows are one touch down, but you do have to hold them to go up. So one touch down though. And when the windows are all the way up, they roll down slightly when you open the door. So let me show you. Close it. You see it goes up a little bit. But when I open the door, it goes down slightly, just to clear that little weather seal. Power seat and power 4-way lumbar adjustment. Now, it's only power on going forward and back, up and down. The tilt back here is still manual. Now, these are heated and ventilated seats, by the way. I forgot to mention that before. To the left of the steering column, you have your headlight controls with automatic, off, parking light, and then your headlights there. And then you push this knob to turn on your fog lights. Interior dimmer switch for your interior gauges, and an ambient light dimmer switch here, and the ability to open up the trunk. You have a power, tilt, and telescoping steering column. And you see on the back of this steering wheel, these up and down and a center button. I'll explain those when we get inside, but I want to give you a good shot of it right there, just below the paddle shifter. Okay, so let's take a look here on the inside. Sitting in the driver's seat, man, this is a comfortable vehicle. That suede leather and the cushion is perfect. For me anyway, it's just a really comfortable vehicle for me. All right, so the leg room, I have the seat all the way back. Just to give you an idea, I can put my legs completely straight out. It's definitely too far back for me to drive, and I'm 6 feet tall. Just so give you an idea of the leg room here. That's really good. Okay, so looking at the steering wheel, it's a leather wrap steering wheel with the perforated portion here on the sides, and then the smooth leather here on the bottom. And then right in the center of the grip here, it transitions, which is pretty cool, has that stitching. Paddle shifters there on the back. You have the plus and minus over there, so that way you can change through the gears using the paddle shifters. Cruise controls here on the right side. And those buttons on the back of the steering wheel I was telling you about, the up, down, and center button, the one on the right side is for the volume for your radio, the up and down. The center button cycles through your audio source. On the left side, up and down, is for radio stations or audio tracks. Center button is only for your favorites or your presets on your radio. These buttons correspond with the screen between the gauges, which we'll get to in just a minute. Right down here is your Bluetooth controls for your phone, so you can answer and hang up. And then you have a very advanced voice recognition system in this vehicle. You can push that button, you can go to navigation addresses, you can make phone calls by just saying the number or the person in your phone book. You can adjust your climate control, media, radio, everything using your voice, using the voice recognition system. Fantastic. Keeps your eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, and staying productive. I love it. All right. So here on the left side is your turn signal and your windshield wiper controls. And check out the gauges. So they have that bright colored background, and they're a little bit of a concave gauge, I don't know if you can tell, just to kind of give you that retro styling, with the RPMs here on the left side and your speedometer there on the right side. Here in the center is a digital speedometer and basically a whole screen. So you also have your engine coolant temperature, your fuel gauge, what gear you're in, outside temperature, your range, odometer, all that stuff here in the center portion. Now these places here on the corners are customizable, so you can change the information there. So you notice it says digital speedometer. I'm going to use these buttons right here to cycle through this whole menu system. So right now I can scroll down, and you'll notice speedometer is just one of the parts of the menu, so it's number one. So the next one is vehicle info. Now vehicle info has more information. You see these little bars at the bottom? It starts off here with the tire pressure, but I can scroll to the right. I can get coolant temperature, all kinds of temperatures and pressures here. Just goes on, and you don't have to go through all this stuff all the time. It's just there in case you want to. Intake air temperature, isn't that nice? Engine torque, engine power, and it goes back to your tire pressure. Scrolling down again is your performance. This is where you can go 0 to 60 timers, 0 to 100 miles an hour timer, eighth of a mile, quarter mile, braking distance, G-forces, peak G-forces, and your lap timer, lap history, and top speed. Look at there, somebody's had it at 69 miles an hour already. And it goes back to the beginning. Scrolling down again, fuel economy. So you shows your current and your range and your average and all that stuff right there. You scroll to the right, it basically the same thing except for it doesn't have the current. It just shows the averages, and these are both of are resettable and independently. Scrolling down again is your trip info. So you have trip A and trip B. They have your distance traveled, the fuel economy, and the time. Scrolling down again is your audio, just whatever your radio is doing. Messages will show up here, and screen setup. This is where you can change the things on the corners there. So let's say we want to change the upper left, we can put the range, average miles an hour, current, miles per hour, per gallon, sorry, your trip, any of these options here, digital compass. Scrolling down again goes back to your digital speedometer. So there's lots of cool stuff in there, especially your performance and all that. Okay, so the Uconnect 4 system is the clarity of the screen, the colors, the contrast, everything here is just really, really good, and it's easy to use as well. And I like the font that they use for the lettering here and the numbers. Kind of looks sporty. Okay, so right now you can see these icons here across the bottom. Well, these stay there, and you can quickly go to whatever you want at any time. So right now we're in the radio screen. You can choose AM, FM, satellite radio. We have our presets or favorites there at the top. Gives you some nice pictures here showing you what's going on, what it's playing. We can adjust the audio. So this has the Alpine sound system here. So we've got the Alpine sound in the door. There's also in the trunk where that carpet is on the top, that top shelf there, it has a subwoofer in there. You can't really see it, but you can definitely hear it. So you have your balance and fade, equalizer, and speed adjusted volume. And this is pretty cool. You can just kind of move it around wherever you want and then center it. Or you can basically do this number. All right, next one is your media. So you have your Bluetooth, your auxiliary input, USB 1 and USB 2, different ways of playing music through the sound system. Climate control, right now it's off. Let's go ahead and turn it on just so we can check it out. So you have your temperatures for your driver and your passenger, where you want the air to blow. Turn the fan speed down. So your fan speed's there, and then you have your heated steering wheel and heated and ventilated seat controls that you can quickly access by pushing that, but I'll show you that in a minute. That's a separate button. Recirculate the air, front and rear defrosters, all that right in here. Next one is your apps. So this is basically all the different options. So you have your heated seats, travel link, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, these are kind of grayed out right now because there's no phone hooked up, but once you hook up the appropriate phone, it will have that available. Travel Link's pretty cool because you could check out the nearest gas station, the cheapest gas stations, that kind of thing, using the navigation system. Performance pages, let's check that out. Takes a second for that to load up. This also has the Super Track pack. I'll show you all that stuff in a second. It's very similar to the okay, so here we go. All right, so your horsepower is showing up right there, your G-forces, current gear, and you can add stuff here. So I'm going to add something here. Let's go to gauges. Let's go to air intake temperature, and we'll just add that. So there we go. So now we have the air intake temperature, horsepower, and we could just choose whatever we want here. So we have timers. We can set up the home, but here's the timers. We can set up gauges. We can have G-forces here, and that's awesome. And then the engine. And then we have a dyno. So as we're driving, we can keep an eye on this stuff. We can keep a track of the RPMs and the torque and power, all this in real time. Is really awesome. We can also take screenshots and save them on a USB drive, so we can show off on Facebook or show off to our friends or whatever, or just keep track of it. Alright, let's get back out of that. Let's go ahead and, so these are different options. So let's say we want to put, let's see here. Let's say we want to put, see the navigation is down here. Let's say we want to take performance pages, which we were just in, and put it down there into the navigation. And now it replaces the navigation with that app. So let's go ahead and see where the, okay. Where'd I go? Okay, so there's the navigation. Let's go ahead and put the navigation back there. All right. Next one is your controls. Heated seat, ventilated seat, and heated steering wheel. Passenger has the heated seat and ventilated seat. Also, we could turn on or off your auto dim mirror. We can go into the settings here, which are a bunch of different settings. One of the things that I do when I first set up a Challenger is turn off the beeping of the horn when you lock it and remote start it, that kind of thing. And also I'll set it to where it will, when I push the unlock button, it only unlocks the driver door and leaves the passenger side locked until you push it again. Those are some of the settings that I initially do. Also, I turn on the daytime running lights, which are little amber lights in the front. Okay, so let's look at the navigation system. We can put in an address, but let's just go ahead and view the map. You can zoom in and out and get your bearings. We're in Whiteville, North Carolina. And you can see there's the ocean, and there's Florida. Look at there. We're going to see the whole earth. Check it out. Isn't that awesome? But anyways, let's go to north up. Let's go back out of that. Check it out. Isn't that cool? You get to see space and stars and everything. So let's go. That's as far as you go out. Let's go here to the menu. Let's go to nav settings, and let's go to map setup. Scroll down, and let's go to vehicle icon. So right now it was showing the blue arrow. Let's change that. We have different options here, but I want to change it to not a Charger, not a Durango. There we go, Dodge Challenger. So let's change it to that. So that way it'll show up the car on the map instead of the blue arrow. So that way we have a car. Of course, it's just red, but at least you have a car instead of an arrow. And last but not least is your phone. And once you pair your phone, of course, you have access to all the features there, like your phone book and messages and all that stuff. You can also, transfer it back to your phone. Like if you're having a private conversation, you don't want everybody in the car to hear, you can transfer it back to your phone. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so that's kind of a quick rundown of the screen there, what it can do and how good it looks. You also have the ability, here's a volume for your radio, tune through your stations, your parking sensors you can turn off, you can mute the radio, there's your four-way flashers. You can always turn the screen off as well if you don't want to have it on. You just tap it to turn it back on. Traction control, you can turn that off. So let's go to the Super Track Pack. So I push that button, pops up right here. We can set up sport mode, launch control. So when we put on sport mode, we can set up, when we push sport mode, we can set up what that does. We don't have to just rely on whatever the factory settings are. We can, you know, set it up the way we want. Same thing with launch control. We can set up the, you have to activate launch control after it reaches like 500 miles or whatever. But you can, you know, set the range in which you want the RPMs to launch the vehicle, or the appropriate RPMs, or however you want to do it. Alright, so down here we have some buttons for your climate controls, your fan speed, your temperatures, your front and rear defroster are all right here. So you don't have to always go into the screen to access these. They are available here as well. There's a little storage pocket right in here. And actually, if you take this out, you can take it out and clean it, put it back in, but there's also a little red strap there. So you, if the vehicle ever is disabled and the battery's dead or whatever, you can just pull that up on that red strap and it will put the vehicle in neutral, so that way you can tow it. Nice little thing to know. Never had to do that, but it's there in case you need it. And then here's the shifter. So it's kind of like this T-handle shifter, kind of retro style, really comfortable and cool looking in my opinion. And so let's go ahead and put it in reverse. Two things will happen. The backup camera with the active guidelines will pop up here, and the backup camera sensors will turn on when you have that, if you don't have them turned off. And as a little visual representation here, if something's behind you, it'll beep and also show you where the actual thing is, which is nice to know. Continuing on, there's neutral, there's drive. That's your normal drive position. The vehicle's going to change through the gears for you. Now, if you push the paddle shifter, you can change through the gears manually, okay? And you'll know what gear you're in because it'll show you right here. It'll only let you go so far out of range. It's not going to let you start off in 8th gear or anything. But if you accidentally push the paddle shifter while you're driving, and you don't want to, change the gears manually, you just press and hold the plus, it goes back in drive. So that's pretty easy. If you want to manually do it here with the shifter, you can just bump it here to the left. It goes into manual mode, and you just, like a ratchet shifter, plus and minus. So you just bump it forward and back to change to the gears. If you're familiar with old ratchet type shifter, you can just bump it, that kind of thing. At any time, you just move it to the right, and it will go back in drive. Illuminated cup holders. I don't know if you can tell right now, but they are illuminated. Looks pretty cool when at nighttime you put a bottle of water there and it illuminates the water, and looking pretty nice. Okay, so here's your armrest. Soft to the touch, very soft and comfortable. Has the contrast stitching here. You lift it up. It says Dodge Brothers underneath it. And this is where you'll find 2 USB ports and an auxiliary input. This is all felt line, this compartment. And it's a 12-volt power supply. So you notice this power supply has a battery on it because it's directly connected to the battery. So even when the vehicle's turned off, you can still charge your cell phone. It's pretty nice, and has a place for wires to go in and out of this compartment. There's also a little bit of space up here. Like in my case, I plug in and have the wire just going through here up to my cell phone. So it won't get pinched or anything if you put it up anywhere outside of this area. Okay, so auto dimming rear view mirror is actually auto dimming right now because I have the sensor of this light sensor, which is, I have the shade over the light sensor. The light sensor is right back here. You have a roadside assistance button so you can get help if you need it. Right in here is your HomeLink garage door opener controls, tap lights, place to put your shades, and it has a foam lining. This is for your sunroof, which we'll get to in just a minute. The visors have mirrors and lights. Have these little pieces that extend out as well. Okay, so looking at the sunroof, it has a shade that covers up 100% of the light. So I can close it up, no light will come in. I can open it up, I can vent it, or I can open it up. Make sure it's all the way back. Yep, that's it. Alright, so let's look at the visibility. This is something I have experience with. There is a significant pillar back here. So this pillar is going to be a blind spot when you're backing out of parking spaces. Good thing this one has the rear cross traffic alert system and the blind spot detector and the backup camera. Now, with those, of course, it helps out, but just look, if you're in a parking space that's kind of, 45-degree angle and you're trying to back out, it is going to be a little bit of an issue, and it takes some getting used to. I mean, I don't have on my car, I don't have any of these backup camera or anything, and I'm able to do it just fine. I'm just have to get used to it, But it does have a blind spot that you're gonna have to get used to when you first get in the vehicle. It maintains that 1971 body style, which in the 70s had that same blind spot. All right, there you have it, 2018 Challenger TA. So before we go, we have to look at the window sticker, so you can use the pause button and read it if you'd like. So Challenger TA 392 starts off with your color, your engine, interior, exterior colors, has the Nappa leather, Alcantara suede. And Alcantara is basically it's a synthetic suede, so it's going to be easier to clean than regular suede. It's just a really good material that's used in a lot of high-end vehicles. Okay, so standard equipment will be here, and it goes down to optional equipment, which is very long. Starts here, continues down over here, and then you have your total price, VIN number, and then your fuel economy. Look at that, 25 on the highway, 485 horsepower. That's amazing. There's your crash ratings. All right, there you have it. 2018 Dodge Challenger TA. Muscle car, love it. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Vann, Underwood, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram for allowing me to check out an awesome vehicle. I love this car. And I'll see you guys next time.